if you've been listening to the show for a while, what I'm about to tell you, while it is a unique story in the moment, it is not the first time I've dealt with this exact same unique experience. Welcome to the Beat the Blender Show, everyone. Joining me, as always, Kristen Elanius and Dame Dunn. Hello, Dame.
Hello, Pete.
Kristen.
Hello.
Kristen is currently mortified as she shared a story with us right before we went to recording here that she is terrified that I will bring up right now. Correct, Kristen?
I'm terrified for our social media presence. Like, that's different.
Good morning, Rick Swink. Big Rick Swink. Good to be with you, Quincy. Good eye. Uh-oh. Good eye. Good morning, Jen. Hello, everyone. Okay, so I was in Vegas the entire week. I was for work. It was eventful. There was a lot going on. I went to a magic show with our colleague Ben. Good morning, Don. Or is it Dan? I can't read. Dan, sorry.
Dan.
Hello, Caitlin. How you doing? And Andy. So we're in Vegas, whatever. But on the way to Vegas, if we want to fly direct from Naptown, you jump on a little something they call Southwest Airlines. And Dave, this is not the first time I've had this exact experience, truly the exact experience. And some 5-6 years removed from the last time I've had the experience, I didn't handle it better. So I'm standing in the corral, to get seated in B21 or whatever. Mm-hmm. And so I line up and I'm looking at the distance between the two poles. I'm thinking, where would 21 be in relation to 20, in relation to 22? And so on some level, I took my iPhone and I used the measurement app to look at the distance between the 2 points. And then so mentally I did the math and I had about 16 inches to stand within that space as B21. Okay. I had a lot of energy in the moment, and you also know me, so you know that this is the way this is happening. I go and I park. I'm B. A clears through. I go, done the math. I got my spot. I'm there. So people start to piece in behind you and whatever. And this lady comes up, and she gets right in front of me. And I've started to do the calculus. I'm like, there's no room. And she was like, oh, what number are you? And I was like, I'm B21. She was like, oh, I'm B23. And she stands there, and I was like, I kind of look, I'm not, but I'm like not passive aggressively looking up to make a point to her. I'm just like, oh no. And then she turns back around, she goes, it doesn't matter, it's all the same. And I was like, I was in this exact situation about 6 or 7 years ago, like the exact thing. And I was like, in numbers, measurement. And I was like, I was so uncomfortable, and I didn't want to get into like a thing. But dang, 21 and 23 aren't the same.
It only doesn't matter to the person who's trying to get over on the person who they're trying to take advantage of. I mean, she's very clearly trying to get something that she doesn't have and make you feel okay about it.
Kristen, I want to put you into this woman's situation. You are now the woman who believes that 23 and 21 are the same.
Couldn't be me.
I know it couldn't be you. Could you pull that off? Would you do that, or would you just go behind the person? 20. Oh, okay. Well, I'm 2 behind you. What would you do?
Are they really wrong? Or no? You're saying exactly the situation. You're not wrong.
No, I don't. I'm not wrong.
No, I'm saying that, like, if someone was really in my seat, what would I do? Or in that situation, I tried to pull this off and it didn't work. What would I do?
If I'm standing there, you ask me my number, I say I'm 21. You go, oh, I'm 23. It doesn't matter. And then you stay in front of me. Would you stay in front of me, or would you go behind me?
Oh, I would go behind you.
Damn, right? You go behind right away.
100%.
Yeah.
Then you can't even have to ask the person behind that, so you slot in the right spot.
Yeah, confirm it. It's easy.
It was not a great start to the trip. Anyway, I'm back. Didn't gamble a penny.
Of course not.
No. Kristen, would you have slammed a coin in a slot machine?
Oh, for sure.
Yeah. Dame? No?
Yes.
Yeah. I think it was because it was a work trip. I just was like, eh. Anywho, here we go. Let's do a radio. What are we talking about today? We are going to, okay, so last week on the show, we talked about Trump's impact on the economy and the stock market going forward. And by the way, in the last 168 hours, guess what's happened? We've been right again and again and again and again and again. And when RFK Jr. was named to be the head of Health and Human HHS, Moderna, Pfizer, stocks dip, because just like we said they would. Mm-hmm. And EV credits are on the chopping block now, so that Musk can wipe out his competitors. We said that too.
It's not investment advice.
Not investment advice. None of this is. Rick Swing. This week, we're going to talk about your actual personal finances, not the investment. Like, we're going to talk some taxes. We're going to talk consumer prices, because that's what the kids want to do. What else are we talking about?
Conversations you have to have before you combine finances.
Can we start there? Are you and Dame combining finances?
Yes. Deal.
You and Dame are combining finances?
Sorry.
Deal.
Remember, it's improv. Yes, and.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I want to combine finances, not with Dame, but with Mrs. Advice. That's who I want to combine finances with.
Yes, and me too.
With Dame, I want to combine finances with Mrs. Advice. Okay, so yeah, I think we could do 2 segments of that, and then one of the personal finance situation there. For sure. Kristen, I should have asked you this in pre-show, so you may have to tell me to shut my lip.
Yeah.
How transparent and open are we being on this combining finances in terms of our real lives?
Because you're taking shots at me?
No. I'm being quite the opposite today. I'm being sensitive to your situation.
Oh, well, that's what I thought you were asking for permission to take shots at me.
Oh, well, I'm just like, no, I'm asking, are you good to talk about your life?
Oh, I can.
Okay.
Yeah, I feel like my situation's kind of unique.
Great. Dame?
I'll talk about Kristen's life. Sure.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. Okay. Okay, Kristen, I was actually out of kindness this time.
That's so kind. Dame, I sent you the list, by the way.
I will look for that list.
Okay. Enough of you two yapping. Jeez, Dame. Keep it easy. Take it easy, pal.
Sorry.
I am at a hard out, so we got to get going. Sorry. I should have said that much earlier, because that means
we talked about nothing for 8 minutes, and now you declare a hard out.
I do have a hard out. It's about this podcast.
Oh, cool.
Great.
Remember I told you guys I was doing some things around the podcast?
Right. And we thought we were getting fired.
And you never gave us an update after we asked you for an update. It was great.
There's been no update, but I might have an update today.
Oh.
In 3, 2, 1. This week on the Pete the Planner Show, we answer your money questions. Here's how the show works. You email us, askpete@petetheplanner.com. That's askpete@petetheplanner.com. And here's what may happen. We may answer your question on the air. We may answer your question in a newspaper column, or it may simply sit there with the rest of my Dick's Sporting Goods 20% off coupons. Joining me, as always, is the queen of combining finances, Kristen Elanius. Kristen, hello.
Hello.
And the Duke of Dame Dunn. Hello.
That was really well done. Good day.
Good day. Hello to people on the live stream. You can always watch the live stream of this show. We record Fridays, 10 a.m. Eastern. Go to youtube.com/Pete the Planner. You can watch the live stream. Hello to J.O., Jameson, and Tom, who just joined us on the Facebook stream, but don't go there. Go to YouTube. I don't know why I care about that. All right, guys, on the show this week, and by guys, I mean guy and gal, we are going to talk about combining finances, like what the do's and don'ts and what conversations you need to have. And then I know we talked a lot last week about the election and the long-term impact on the markets and the economy, but we're going to dip our toe slightly back in the water just to talk about how it will impact our personal economies. And so we begin. Kristen, people occasionally will say, I like you, and now it has turned into love. I want to share my money, problems with you. When people combine finances, how do they begin the conversation to say, yeah, this makes sense?
Yeah, that's such a big ask. And so we have this checklist of maybe conversations you should have, not all at once, conversations you should have before you truly decide to combine your finances. And I thought we could start with what I feel is very like a softball, like here's a lob, but a lot of people don't do and don't know, which is I know exactly how much my partner earns.
Okay. Yeah, Dame, you and I are the how do I say old and out of touch? Like what should I use to say that?
Old and out of touch.
Okay, great. So, Kristen, a lot of these, as Dame and I listen, I love this topic because we're putting this through the 2024 lens.
Mm-hmm.
Dame, I had this conversation with my partner in the late 90s.
Okay.
When did you have your conversation with your partner?
Early 2000s.
Okay. So barely the internet existed.
Barely.
There was no Dogecoin.
No.
AI was Allen Iverson.
What's the original?
That was pretty good. All right. So, yeah, I think we talked about income back then.
I mean,
I didn't have any.
Yeah, there wasn't any. I remember when Mrs. Advice got her first offer letter for her first real job. So I knew exactly what the income was going to be at that point.
Yeah, I was a financial advisor with a massive variable income. And by massive, I mean, it could have been zero. It could have been more than zero. And we lived on my wife's $30,000 a year teacher salary until I got my business going. So now everyone knows her salary. Kristen, how does that play out in the real world in 2024?
Well, I think it's different if you both just described scenarios where you kind of launched your careers with this person. And so, yeah, you know how much money they make. But when you're, in your 20s, in your late 20s, 30s, 40s, like they already are established in what they're doing, likely. So then you have to have a conversation about how much money they make. It's totally different.
Do you go with okay, so now I'm hooked on this topic, by the way. I could do the whole show on this. Kristen, okay, so can we talk about your situation?
Yes.
Okay. You have a person in your life.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you both have careers.
Right.
And so have you guys talked about your incomes?
Oh, yeah.
How soon into we are paired off did you what is that what the Dame is that when you're like these two like M and M they're together, like how soon after that, or was it even before that you're like I make $700,000? You've not said that.
I don't think I disclosed my income very quickly. I don't think. He might feel differently, but I guess I am in a circle where income transparency is pretty high. Like, I feel like I generally know what a lot of my friends make. Like, I know what my sister makes and my best friend and him. So I feel like it wasn't that weird to just like know how much money each other makes.
That's totally generational, by the way.
Oh my God, yes. I mean, I know what my friends make because I'm a carny and I can guess. Like Dame and I are amazing. We've talked to thousands and thousands of people about their finances. Dame and I can guess incomes better than just about anyone in this world. But other than that, I don't actually know what anybody makes.
Correct.
Yeah, I know what a lot of my friends make.
So you're saying if I go out in the office here and I start talking to our colleagues, like especially the youngs like you, that they all know what their friends make?
Yeah, I think that you would find that like Gigi and Ellie, they probably know what their friends make.
Sheesh. Who knew? Dame, did you know that?
No, I'm old.
All right, Kristen, what's the next thing on the list? And out of touch too, Dame. Yes. Kristen, what else is on the list of things that you should discuss other than income?
So someone called it out in the YouTube live comments, so we will just go there right now, which is we each pulled our credit reports from annualcreditreport.com and we reviewed them together.
Nerd alert. Nerd alert.
Hey, that's how you get the truth.
Wait, you made your man print off his credit report and you reviewed it?
Okay, I have actually done that, but you should do that before you combine finances with someone. What if they don't know what's on their credit report?
Had he
That's
ever
so
done
romantic.
that before, prior to
He's
that?
never done that before.
So did you use it as a guise of, hey, you need to know how to do this because it's important, and then secretly you wanted to pull it just to see what kind of dumpster fire might be lingering?
Okay, wait. Let's tread carefully here because I do not want to let's scrutinize Kristen, but I don't want to expose anything there with him. You know, I did not ask him, and he's stronger than me.
No. It was actually off the back of having a conversation of potentially buying a home and saying how does this impact what we have going on? And me saying, do you actually know if there's anything out there? And he's like, well, I mean, no, but I don't have any debt. And I'm like, do you know that your name has no debt? And he's like, no. So we pulled his credit report.
Had he frozen his credit?
No.
Was he impressed by you?
No. He's never.
He's not impressed by you?
I mean, he is, but not in this sense. Not about knowing annualcreditreport.com.
Man, just think if you guys weren't dating, you could put this on a dating profile online that you could help people with their credit.
Get no hits.
All right. What's another thing that, Dame, I love this topic. I do this for weeks.
Okay, here's one that's a little more in your feelings, which is we've discussed how money was handled in our childhood homes.
Dame, I feel like I did this in 1990s. Did you do that back in the late 2000s?
Maybe early 2000s?
What'd I say?
Late?
Well,
yeah,
early.
I don't know if we explicitly talked about it, but we knew. I mean, it wasn't something we hid from, but we understood the households that we grew up in and how things worked at that point.
Yeah, we dated for 4 years in college, so she basically was part of our family for 4 years prior to combining finances. So she kind of knew, and vice versa. Love this topic. So here's what you're doing. If you just turn on your radio, good news, we're going to a commercial. And when we come back, what should you discuss with your partner right before you combine finances? Kristen Elanius, our expert combiner of finances, is the host today. I'm Pete the Planner, and this is the Pete the Planner Show. Oh, this is a fun little ditty.
I don't know if he's being sarcastic.
Who?
You.
I love this topic.
How can you not tell?
Really? You don't think? You know who is okay? So people around the office from time to time will say, "I can't tell if Pete's being serious or not." I have a reputation about that. Do you know who works with us? Who is more so that than me?
Molly.
Alex.
Oh yeah.
He's so funny and so dry. Like he said something the other day, and I was like, "Really?" And he was like, "No," and I'm like, "Oh, of course not. Yeah, don't explain the joke. Okay, you're fine."
I'm holding out of touch.
He's climbing we have a lot of funny people here, which
correct.
He's climbed the ranks substantially.
Oh, see, I've always thought he was really funny.
Well, I did too, but I think. All right, what's top three? Top three funniest people at your money line.
Oh, everybody has such different kinds of humor.
I know, that's why it's fun.
And it's tough because we don't get to interact with them the same way that you do.
All right, I'm excluded, by the way, because I'm not looking for this.
Well, that's not helpful.
Yeah, I'm excluded.
There goes the easy one.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I'll give you my top three. This is tough. In no particular order.
Sure.
Mm-hmm.
Molly. Alex. The third one's tough. I mean, Chad's pretty funny.
I was going to say Chad, I think.
Yeah, I was too.
Or what are your other two?
Alex and Molly.
Yeah, there you go. There you go. If you ever want to come work at your money line, I think we've got 4 or 5 positions open right now. Go to yourmoneyline.com/careers. Is that the site? I don't think it is. Just go to yourmoneyline.com and look at careers, and then
you can work with me and Dame.
Yes. Please come work.
I had one of my best friends send me an email this week that said, "Hey, will you send me a copy of the book you wrote on student loans? Because my daughter's starting to look at college, and I'd like to read it. And I emailed him back, it's a terrible book. I don't wish it on my worst enemy. And then that's how I knew that maybe I'm not so proud of some of my past work. It's still out of date, you know?
Yeah, that's I guess the issue is it's just old at this point. It's like us.
All right, let's get back to it in 3, 2, 1. Back on the Pete the Planner show. Here's what we're doing today. Everyone calm down. Here's what it is. On the count of 3. 1, 2, 3. Combining finances with significant other. So far, we've talked about income. Kristen ran a credit report on her first date with her current love interest. Why is current love interest seems like you're going to move on soon?
It really does, doesn't it?
Sorry, Ziggy. Sorry. Okay, and then how household finances growing up, like what was going on with your parents. We're on to number 4. Kristen, help Dame and I, 2 old and out of touch men, understand what is 4th on the list.
Okay, so here's one that I try really hard to, when we're working with participants at Your Money Line, to get them to have a conversation about, which is, what will your finances look like if someone has to take a step back? Whether that's a sabbatical, whether that from an income perspective, maybe you're going to expand your family. Maybe someone has underlying mental health concerns and they say they need to take time away from work or reduce their stress load when it comes to work. How would your finances look if your income situation were different? And if that was as a result of one person's change in income?
Wow. I'm not being critical of this, but that seems so in the weeds.
The reason I don't think it is because so often we see the aftermath of this, which is, and I'll use people having kids as the example, is we have kids, we say, hey, we don't want to put our kids in daycare perhaps. So we're going to reduce our income, or we're putting our kids in daycare and it's costing basically one of our incomes. And so then what does the emotional weight of that look like in our relationship if one person has an earned wage and one person doesn't? And have you talked through that? Because money is a very loaded thing that can sometimes feel like it comes with power, and you need to know who you plan to raise children with when it comes to this particular topic.
Dame, I don't know if your brain's going down the same path as mine here. Is Kristen, knowing you and you're a dog mom and how you think about those things, I wouldn't think this is one that you would glom onto. It's interesting for me.
Well, that's because Alicia came up with it.
Okay. Someone on a team with children.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We thank Alicia for her service this week and our other veterans here at Your Money Line. Dame, what do you think about that one?
I'm on the fence about it. I mean, I think it's a great topic. But I just don't know. It feels like that's an attached conversation to other conversations at that point for me. I'm not sure if that's its own standalone discussion.
Next up on the list.
Let's go with, we've talked through whether we will have joint or separate bank accounts and how we will reach our financial goals depending on which of those we choose.
I think I have so many. This could be 2 segments in itself, because to your point, your earliest point here, Kristen, which I think is the most important point, people are getting married later than they did 25 years ago.
Correct.
People aren't getting married at 22. People are getting married at 29, 32, you know? Mm-hmm. So I think when you're starting out together, 50% of nothing is nothing, right? You have nothing. It's a little different when you get married later. Dame, do you think that has an impact on it?
I have talked to so many people in the last 2 weeks who have had this conversation, and I've encouraged them all. I said, there's no one right answer for this, by the way, whether you combine finances, whether you keep them separate and you have different accounts, up to you. But I think you're exactly right, Pete. When you are starting from scratch, both of you, the only thing you have to your name is student loans in most cases. That's a different discussion. But when you're established and you've got stuff and savings and all that other stuff, you better figure out how you're going to blend these things together. Who's going to do what for responsibility wise, and where's the money going to come from? It's a critical part of having a solid financial relationship.
Yeah, so Mrs. Planner and I started in that situation where we had the same account. But then over time, especially when she left teaching and she just runs our household, oddly, we went to separate accounts when that happened, which kind of on the surface makes no sense because there's one income coming in that then gets split into two different accounts. And it's not her money and my money, but it's just the account she runs and the account I run, and we split the bills. Like, or that account pays some, the account I have primary access to does the others, and it works for us. And I used to be the guy who's like, if you don't trust your spouse with money, you don't trust your spouse. One account's the only way to go. And I was hardcore that for a long time until I realized like that just doesn't work for everybody. Chris?
Well, I can't imagine completely combining finances at 30 years old and not having a bank account that only I had access to. I just personally can't imagine that. So perhaps there's some underlying bias with this one.
Okay, so let's dig in here. So this is interesting. I don't carry around a debit card to the account that Mrs. Planner primarily operates. Mm-hmm. She does not carry around a debit card for the account I primarily operate. But our primary spending at this point in our life all goes on a particular credit card, of which we both have a card. And then I pay fully out of the account I operate that credit card bill every 30 days. So does that work for you?
Do you have access to the account that she primarily runs her debit card on?
Let's talk about what you mean by access, because I think, do I have the password? Yes. Could I get in there and transfer money if I wanted to? Sure.
But is it her account? Like, should you leave?
My name's on it. I think my name is primarily on it.
I don't care for that.
Why?
Well, because, what if I'm speaking like best practice in the things that we see personal finance wise is like, I just think that as adults, you should have access to money that no one else has access to. I'm not saying there shouldn't be transparency around that, but what if you weren't a great guy? Like,
I'm not that great.
What if she needed access to funds and you have the ability to take that access away from her? I don't care.
You know what? That's a really great point. Like, we're operating as though I'm not going to turn into a monster.
Exactly.
And Dame, we've known each other a while. It's trending in that direction. That's a good point, Kristen.
No.
Dame, how do you view this?
I see the point. If I can take a step back and talk about the arrangement that you and Mrs. Planner have.
Yeah.
To me, it just seems like needless complexity. But
yet it's easy.
Somehow it's easy for me.
I know. I'm a weirdo.
For me, it makes no sense whatsoever. And that's how I know that method is not right for me. Now, Mrs. Advice may be listening to this thinking, why don't we try that? But so I don't know. But for me, it just seems crazy to do that. So if I circle back to Kristen's point, Kristen, I don't know how many people we've talked to over the years individually that have gone through situations where they need to have money that is theirs. Mm-hmm. And I totally get it. I would also say that can potentially be a point of contention for somebody in a relationship as well. So whatever you decide to settle on, like almost everything else in this topic, communication, upfront honesty is paramount to success for whatever system you're putting up.
I think as we head to break here in 20 seconds or so, Kristen, do we have enough meat on this bone to come back full on this?
I don't know.
I'll say this. No matter how weird your setup is, if it's working, fine. If it's not working, you need to switch. Mm-hmm. And this actually makes me want to go home tonight. Oh, we got to go to break. I'll come back with this right after the break. We'll still be Pete the Planner. Look at me. How many more bullet points do you have?
I mean,
a lot.
I do not.
Well, you only highlighted.
We haven't talked investments. We've not talked.
Well, I have one kind of like around
insurance.
net worth. And I mean, surely you guys have ideas, no?
No, Kristen, I have no ideas.
Oh.
You've come to the wrong place.
Excuse me.
All right, let's go back because I don't know.
Yeah.
Heart out. Everybody has got a heart out. Then 3, 2. Back on the Pete the Planner show, talking combining finances, the conversations you must have. You must have. If you don't have them, you've got to have with your people. If you're going to combine finances with them, you're in a loving relationship. I love you. Let's go to Chili's. I'll buy the appetizer. You buy dessert. Those sorts of things. And so we've run through a long list, and we are now to this point where I was making the point going to break. From a banking perspective, a bank account perspective, there's a million ways to do it. And there might just be a few ways that work for you and your lovely person. But there's a lot of wrong ways for you and your lovely person to do it. The way I do it, Dame just says it sounds ridiculous to him. And that's fine because it actually works for us. What I'm willing to do is to go home tonight or call her on the air right now and say, does it work for you? You know what? I will do that tonight.
That's a good choice.
No recording devices.
Yes.
I will just say, hey, right before I leave the house, 2 minutes after I get home from work to drive to Detroit for a 12-year-old soccer game, I will say to her, is this working logistically for you?
No, what you could
No other context.
Yeah, what you could,
no, I meant money.
just just
The rest is not.
call Kristen and I and put us on speakerphone so we can chime in as
You want to call her right now?
No.
I don't. That'd be 2 weeks in a row.
Do not do that to her.
Yeah, here's how I view it. Do you feel like you don't have? Let's say I get a pay increase. Okay, so we all get pay increases. So you get pay increase sometime. Who, if we split the money into 2 different accounts, how is the increase accounted for into those 2 accounts is a really important question in that scenario, right? 1 income, 2 accounts. Let's say you get a $200 a month raise. Where does the $200 net go? Does it go to the account that she manages, the account I manage? I think that is a very fair question.
Mm-hmm. And that's one of the logistics of all of this is something to have a conversation about, because like, who's going to manage the money overall? I don't think it's as common to do what you're practicing in your household, where it's like, I manage some and I manage some. I think a lot of people have this like all or nothing kind of mentality around this, where it's like, I can't tell you how many people we talk to that wouldn't know how to log in to their like household bank accounts, or wouldn't know how to log into the bill pay accounts. And so having a conversation about, is this an okay thing? Is the person who's going to do the primary managing of the money really, and I mean this lovingly, qualified to be doing that? Do they make good financial decisions? And is that really fair? Is it fair to put all of that household burden onto one person?
See, this is where maybe we're just weirdos, because all the utilities, all those sorts of payments, she'll pay. Mortgage and financial instruments, I'll deal with, right? So it's, I don't know, Dame, how do you guys do
You like going to the bank, but it's weird you bring this up, because in my mind I was thinking, as Kristen was talking, how you divvy it up and where the money goes. If somebody is responsible for paying most of the variable costs in a relationship, their needs might change pretty drastically on how much money they need deposited into their account to be able to cover that. So, there has to be a constant flow of communication, making sure that the needs are being met, and it's not just accumulating somewhere, or if somebody's got more than they need, then the other person's trying to scrape by with everything else. So, yeah, absolutely. There's got to be having separate accounts almost requires better communication than having one.
Isn't one of the most practical aspects of this conversation, which is a really good conversation, about what happens when things go wrong? Isn't that what this is about?
Yeah. I think it's just when things change. Like, how do you anticipate that you'll come to the table when things change? Because we talked about like, okay, family expansion or job loss, or what if grandma needs to move in with us and what does that do to our personal finances? I think it's about proactive communication about things that very realistically could happen that put a lot of strain on a relationship.
Yeah, this is interesting because let's go back to a one income household scenario.
Mm-hmm.
Just by the mechanics of retirement accounts,
Right.
You could do a spousal IRA or whatever, which is, recommended. But the bulk of the assets are going to be under one person's social security number.
Right.
And that is not great. That is not great. That requires actual financial planning to circumnavigate the realities of that.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think? Oh, go ahead, Kristen.
I was going to say, which is another conversation to have, particularly when we're talking about the fact that we are making lifelong commitments later and later collectively, is where do you stand from a saving, investment, retirement perspective?
None of us are going to have the data to this next question. Dame, do you think since people are getting married later, those relationships are lasting longer?
That's a really good question. And nobody does have the data available at the moment, although Kristen may be Googling furiously behind the scenes.
ChatGPT.
But I don't, my assumption is no. That in fact, oh boy, I would guess that they might not even last as long because you're established and you're your own person, and trying to blend lives at that point, you're less flexible and malleable.
We're way out over our skis at this point.
Yeah, clear speculation. That is not my lane, so take my word for what it's worth.
Okay, Kristen, here's a topic for you.
Okay.
In this regard, pardon me, to discuss. You talked about your family dynamics growing up.
Mm-hmm.
How about, at what point do you appropriately talk about what sort of money may be left from you from an estate perspective? Because I could see people holding that one close to the vest, especially early.
Yeah.
Because I think you could combine finances way prior to saying, oh, by the way, my family has multi-generational wealth.
That's really interesting. And it's clearly not a one size fits all conversation, but I think having some of the other conversations you're having can help you determine when to have that subsequent conversation. For example, let's say someone has multi-generational wealth and is very secure in that, and as a result has put their money in other places that aren't traditional retirement accounts and feels very justified in that. There's no sense in having a conversation about, well, why do we have retirement inequality if you're not going to open the door to, there's a very specific reason and it's this.
Dame, let's say you and I are on a 10th date and it's going very well. Can we role play for a moment? Oh, does Dame not have sound?
Did we get mozzarella sticks?
We did get, and we are feeding them to each other.
Ooh.
Okay, now listen, here's the important part about this. Aesthetically, out of 1 to 10, what am I, Dame?
Solid's 8.
4.
Oh.
But then you've got to take the rest of our financial lives at face value, right? You and I are like, let's combine finances. We'll get dogs like Rick and Gary, and everything's going well. But then when the baked Alaska comes out, which, as we know, is not only delicious, but filled with booze, and I get a little loose lippy, and I say, my Uncle Ned invented toilet paper, and we've got multi-generational wealth. I'm no longer a 4. I'm a 9. I'm a 9.
Perhaps.
So I feel like if you shoot that arrow too quickly, 1, it will make you more attractive, but B, the relationship is then forced to evolve at an unnatural pace. Am I not right?
I don't think people are that shallow.
What are you, Alex, now? I can't tell whether you're serious or not. Kristen, right? That you can't shoot that arrow too soon.
Yeah, that's fair. And there's tells though too. Like sometimes you don't know, but a lot of the time you know before that anyway, I feel.
Really? I don't know. I feel like I've encountered or like on the periphery have seen this play out, and it's like the big reveal. Oh, by the way, I'm loaded.
I'll tell you a story off the air.
Oh,
right.
Coming up after the break, we're going to end the show early so I can hear that story. Just kidding. We'll be back in just a moment with biggest waste of money of the week. It's a classic. And the moment that Dame stars in. The news right here on the Pete the Planner Show. I'm Pete the Planner. Tell it now.
No.
By the power invested in me as an employer.
Oz.
Can I ask a terrible? Can I ask a really dumb question that is just take it at face value, both of you, please?
Yes.
You know the old "I sign your paycheck." Since we have digital pay stubs, we don't actually have a paycheck or anything that looks like a paycheck.
Right.
So I don't actually sign anyone's paychecks, right?
No.
Does anyone get a live check? Can you get a live check? You have to be able to get a live check.
I think they have to give you that option.
And would my signature be on it?
Or an authorized official. It's probably Oz's signature.
You could read it that way.
Or Blake's.
Blake's pretty funny too. But he always is a responder. He doesn't start.
I feel like if Blake was trying to be funny and he wasn't, it'd get way too competitive and he'd press.
He's funny. But see, I work so close with him. Like, it's again to your guys' point of like, it's who you work close with. And who's the funniest FG? There's the question. Who's our favorite? Who's our funniest financial guide?
They're not funny. That's not what we're here to do.
We're busy working.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. And I just out telling slappy jokes in the lobby.
Yeah.
Like I am.
We don't have a lobby.
No.
Yeah.
Our boss is mean.
She is. I mean, you, right? Not Molly.
Me.
Okay. Okay. That's right. Oh, fun. Everyone loves workplace banter. All right, Kristen, we're going to say, I got to hear that story.
Okay.
Do you want to know what GPT's response was to the question
Yes.
of people who get married later? Research suggests that people who marry later in life tend to have a lower risk of divorce compared to those who marry at a younger age. This trend is often attributed to greater emotional maturity, financial stability, and self-awareness gained with age, which can contribute to healthier and more stable marriages. However, the relationship between age at marriage and long-term marital stability isn't absolute. While marrying later is often associated with lower divorce rates, other factors like communication, compatibility, conflict resolution skills, shared values can also play in the longevity of a marriage.
By my math, we've got about a 6 to 7 minute margin right now before we have to start the next segment. So, let me just say this. You could argue both sides of this pretty effectively. It'd be quite the debate because Mrs. Planner and I go through lived experiences together. I was more attractive then. And so there's that, but then this emotional maturity thing is interesting. The right age to get married is like 43. If we're talking emotional maturity.
For you guys.
But Dame, I want you to think about the evolution of you. When do you feel like you were a fully evolved mammal? It wasn't in your 30s.
Dame was born
I'm
adult.
I had people telling me I was 42 when I was 18. So, I mean,
yeah, but maybe the issue of where I'm going there is it's being a parent that ages you and matures you and it makes you wise. So maybe that starts to fall apart.
So if this information from GPT is correct,
oh, of course it is guaranteed.
Then why do so many second and third marriages fail?
What's the percentage of second marriages that fail? Ask ChatGPT.
Right away, sir.
Kristen loves this topic.
Yeah.
Kristen, is there a housing update you got?
Oh.
Is that an off the air thing too?
No, I'm going to look at a house tomorrow. I know.
Is that the one you sent a picture of? Was that in Slack or text?
Text.
Okay, I'm going to go back through and look.
I have an update.
Okay.
I'll have ducks.
Statistics indicate that second marriages have a higher likelihood of ending in divorce compared to first marriages. Approximately 60% of second marriages in the United States end in divorce, whereas rate for first-time marriages is around 40 to 50%.
Isn't it like 75% for third marriage?
No, I bet it goes
Nope.
down.
It goes up even higher, 70% for third marriages.
Jeez. You want to tell us anything about the house?
We will eventually have our own hay, so we could have heat
Make
on
it
the
hay.
farm. We could go bale hay if you want.
Wait a second.
What?
You will say, can you get the same wording that you just started with there? We will eventually be able to have our own hay. Is that what you said?
Correct.
What does that even mean?
It means that cows eat too much grass and they trample the grass and they're hungry, and you don't want them to only eat grain because, one, it's expensive, and two, there's debate about that. And so you usually feed them hay as well. And hay is expensive. And this property will have enough space that we potentially will be able to bale our own hay.
I have a series of unbelievably noobish questions that I need to get out of my mouth, and I've got 5 minutes to do it. Dan,
I
go ahead
might
before I
not
get
have the answers.
Yeah, I really want to see Pete on a wagon chucking bale.
chucking bale.
They would be probably round bales, so he wouldn't
all
have
right.
to.
Okay, so what?
I might not have the answers. I'm not the expert.
Okay, so I'm about to ask a dumb question, but what's worse is you won't have a dumb answer. You won't have an answer to the dumb question.
Perhaps.
Do you plant hay?
Yeah. It's
But
wheat.
what is it? It's
Is
what?
it wheat or alfalfa?
Dame?
Alfalfa. I mean, that's just stuff that grows and you cut and round up.
Whoa. So I'm not as dumb as I look here.
It's
What's hay?
alfalfa.
It's just stuff that grows. Not a
There's
great
different-
answer.
There's different kinds.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know all the different types of it.
Okay, so did ChatGPT, when they invented it,
Oh,
did
wait,
anyone think
it's
someone's going to put
straw.
in what is hay?
Wheat is
Alfalfa,
straw.
clover,
Yeah.
it just grows.
It's like grass. It looks like grass.
Yeah.
And it gets really tall, and then you cut it down, and then you let it kind of dry.
Okay, but if it's grass and you said the cattle are trampling the grass, won't they?
They
Yeah.
wouldn't be on it while it grows. They would be in their own pasture, and then you would have the alfalfa. And then when you cut it, apparently that's what makes it hay, which I think is silly. And then you rake it into piles, and then you bale it.
We got like 2 minutes left, and I've got so many more questions.
I probably don't know the answers.
So your cattle don't live in your property right now.
No,
Okay.
I live in a condo.
Okay. That feels like the HOA would not be happy.
No.
The H stands for heifer. Dame, no smile at all?
I'm smiling. You just can't tell. I'm smiling.
Okay. Would you get more cattle if you got this property?
Correct. Yes.
How many head you got? Was that right?
That was good.
How many head?
That was great. Well, there's 3 cows right now, and the goal would be to have 8 cows, and then ideally each of them has a baby every year, so maximum 16 at once.
16 head.
Correct.
All right.
Will you
Is there a-
brand them?
Oh, Brandon.
Not gonna brand
Director of
They will
branding.
have ear tags though.
Oh my gosh. Can I ride one of the cows?
Maybe Bella. She's
In
kind of
theory.
nice.
Sure.
Yeah. Okay. We should probably do the radio show now.
Probably, yeah.
It's fun.
Guys, my day. Feel free to look at my calendar. It's just dumb. It's just because I had to leave early. It's fine. Okay. Okay, I forgot. Here we go. In 3, maybe 2, 1. This week's biggest waste of money of the week, right here on the Pete the Planet Show, is the Gucci pool table. All pool tables are luxury items. This version from Gucci is even more so. It has a contemporary design with a walnut frame, leather details, the brand signature GG Supreme canvas, and web stripe trim, and an accessories drawer. It comes with 4 cues in a custom bag, 16 pool balls with the interlocking G logo, and a Gucci branded triangle. crafted in the USA, not subject to tariffs. The table is available on a made-to-order basis exclusively via Gucci's client advisors. Dame, do you want to go first or second?
I'll let Kristen pick.
Kristen, how much?
This Gucci bags are thousands of dollars. I can't even imagine. This is $43,000.
That's a spicy meatball, Dame.
This is a $100,000 table.
110,000 American dollars. Dame, I have an idea here.
Oh,
And I'm gonna give a statement. I want you to agree or disagree, and Kristen will give us the truth because she's the only one that knows the truth.
Oh boy.
I think Kristen knows her way around a pool table. Don't make a reaction, Kristen. Keep your face like that. Dame, do you think Kristen is decent at billiards?
no.
I say she is. Kristen?
I have my own pool stick.
Stick.
That's the greatest call of all time in the history of this program.
Just because she says she's good doesn't mean she's good.
I didn't say I was good. Look, you guys.
See?
She owns her own stick.
So?
I do. I'm not
have my
good.
own stick.
I'm
You have
not
your
good.
own stick?
I have my own cue. Yes.
What the?
Oh yeah, it's a cue, huh?
Dave, you have your own bowling ball, don't you?
No.
Kristen?
I did.
What is going on with your odd sport? Ted, or Dame, your badminton racket? You got a badminton paddle?
No.
All right, Kristen, why do you have your own stick?
So when my parents got divorced, my dad took the dining room table out of the kitchen and put a pool table instead. So we had a pool table in the house.
That's good parenting right there.
And my dad's very good. Very, very good.
Rick Swink on YouTube Live right now says he has a pool cue and 4 bowling balls because of course he does. He's sure. Rick Swink. Dane, what's in the news this week?
I'm going to start with a story that really doesn't have a direct application for us three because of the part of the country we live in, but there are some numbers in this story that I am completely amazed by. Okay. So if you live in New York City, your next apartment move might be cheaper than your last. Under a new bill passed this week, renters will no longer be on the hook for the multi-$1,000 realtors commission that in part makes NYC moving so expensive. The Fairness in Apartment Rental Expenses, that's fair if you're playing along at home, Act, introduced by Gen Z council member
Tyler.
Tyler, will require NYC landlords to pay broker fees to brokers they've hired as soon as May. That's how it already works in most U.S. cities, but in New York City, tenants have shouldered the fee for decades. In the Big Apple, the median rent was this last year.
$3,500.
$3,800.
You're exactly right. $3,500. $42,000 for a 12-month lease per The Guardian. The broker's fee tends to be this % of a full year's rent.
I'm going 25%.
No, 10
to 15%. So $4,200 to $6,300 on for the average pad in New York, including the broker's fee, first month's rent, and security deposit. Moving into a New York City rental this year required an average of $12,951 up front, 48% more than no-fee moves, according to the online real estate service Street Easy. That's nuts to me.
That's a big change. I mean, realtors are whatever. They're freaking out.
Yeah. I mean, they're still going to get paid by the apartment complex, but criminy, that is a big shift.
Kristen, how many times a week do you think Dame says criminy?
At least
4 or 5, right?
I was gonna say, I would say on average probably once a day.
Yeah, he's a one criminy a day sort of fella. Dame, what do you think? If you can be honest with yourself for a second.
I 2 or 3, usually only when I'm around you people.
I knew that was coming.
Yeah.
What else is in the news?
Pete, I'm going to read a 2-sentence story It's up to you to come up with the joke.
Ready? Okay, I'm built for this.
I know.
This is my only life purpose.
Ready?
Okay.
Klarna, the Swedish buy now, pay later giant, filed IPO docs to go public in the U.S. It's currently valued around $15 billion. Or
$1 million a month for the next 36 months.
There you go.
Whatever.
There you go. That's the joke. I had 3 equal payments.
That's too easy.
$5 billion each. Yeah. But I'm sure if we spent more time workshopping, it could have been better. But
can I tell you where my brain went? Just so you know how jokes are made. You said the Swedish.
Yeah.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
I thought I'm going to make a joke out of IKEA.
Yeah.
And so I was going to be like, IKEA, pay it now, but I can pay it later. Like, but then.
Yeah. Yeah. Sorry. Yeah. You made an assumption. You were wrong. You'll do better next time. A digital token inspired by a Shiba Inu dog, dog meme, is now worth more than the company that pioneered the assembly line. This week, Dogecoin continued its post-election surge to become more valuable than 121-year-old Ford. As of one point, Doge had a market cap of $55.5 billion compared to Ford's $44 billion. What are we doing?
Ask Doug.
You know, here's the thing. Doug is going to be on the show sooner rather than later.
I know.
I think Doug will be on the show by the end of the year. So Doug, one of our coworkers, was allowed to be on the show when Bitcoin equals. Yeah, allowed. That's the only reason I'll ever be on the show. At $100,000 per Bitcoin. And I think it will happen by the end of the year.
Yeah, I do too. Amazon, struggling startup, launched its competitor to Temu and Shein. Amazon Haul, as the ultra discount storefront is called, offers a variety of products, including apparel, home goods, electronics, and more, priced at $20 or less. The mobile-only store is Amazon's response to upstarts Shein, Temu, and TikTok Shop, which offer cheap goods shipped directly from China and have eaten away at its market share. But selling an iPhone case for $1.79 comes with compromises. Amazon Haul says items will take 1 to 2 weeks to be delivered, and shipping fees will be charged for orders under $25. Pete, how many teen phones will Amazon Haul be on, and then by the end of the year?
All of them?
Yeah.
Yeah, my kids both are really into. They've both got like teen debit cards. My daughter's is like a real one. My son's is like he can't do anything unless I let him. But he loves trying to link it to these sorts of sites and seeing like, hey, I bought a phone case for $4. Like he loves that. Mm-hmm. And that's exactly what this is.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, totally.
That's genius because, Dame, you're smart. What this did is it unlocked the teen market.
Yeah.
That's what it did.
Totally. Because what parents are going to routinely tell their kid, no, you can't spend $4?
I mean, me, but
I know, but
yes, wow, that's full disclosure. I'm an Amazon shareholder. Okay, that's it. So here's what we didn't do on the show this week. We didn't talk about personal finances related to the election results. Last week, we talked about the economy and the markets at large, but we did talk about if you happen to find someone who you agree with politically and you want to share finances with them, how to combine finances. And if you disagree with them, how to combine finances in a way that when you break up, everything is fine. Anyway, that's it. Must go. Kristen, thank you.
Anytime.
Dame, thank you.
You're welcome.
Everyone else, sending you good vibes because good vibes are all that's in the budget. I'm Pete the Planner, and this is the Pete the Planner Show. Here's the wild thing. That last segment, the person I have a call with in 2 minutes sent me an email that said, I need to either push the meeting or do it 10 minutes late. So I rushed the show.
We didn't rush. It was still an hour.
I felt rushed.
We talked about hay for 6 minutes.
It was
Dame, can I ask
the best part of the show?
Dame, I have a parenting question for you real quick.
Yeah.
Your kids do things.
Yes.
Swim and tread water and all those sorts of things. And inevitably, with any of those activities, is there like a club fundraiser that occurs?
I mean, if you mean parents going to work and creating income to pay the fees, yes, there is. There might be a fundraiser for one of the things potentially.
Yeah. So I've got right now, I just got an email that one of my children and one of their activities, they have to put together a list of emails and send it out to raise funds for this particular thing.
Yeah.
And of course, I get the emails. And if people don't contribute, then I just end up paying the money anyway.
Totally.
But I don't really want to solicit my friends and family for this, but they're required to give so many different email addresses. So we pretty much just give like 15 of my email addresses. Mm-hmm. And then I don't actually contribute to it because then the money is dispersed amongst all of everyone and then I would have to pay the difference of my kid anyway. Mm-hmm. So I don't know. I don't know if you've ever been in that situation, but you don't contribute to a large fundraiser because you just have to end up paying more anyway for your kid.
There is a fundraiser now that I think about it, a swim-a-thon at some point where they just swim back and forth in a pool.
It's child labor. I love it.
But we always pay just because I don't want to listen to somebody complain that we didn't.
Kristen, are you going to have us on FaceTime when you go through the house?
No. Absolutely not.
What animal? I don't want to get ahead of ourselves here. And we did not jinx you. I'm sorry. But what animals would you have?
Ducks.
The 2 dogs.
Ducks.
3 dogs. We have 3 dogs.
Chickens?
Chickens freak me out. Ducks.
Ducks don't freak you out.
Right.
Any geese? Canadian. They're going to poop all over your property.
They're there all the time anyway.
They own it, actually. Any pigs?
No. A donkey.
Goats.
Horse?
Absolutely not.
Llama?
Cattle.
You guys are going to have to disclose your income just to pay for all the feed.
Right. You're not wrong. Hopefully the cows can sustain the hobby animals. That's really my goal.
Dame, I'm going to start with this question directed to you because it feels way too judgmental to ask Chris.
Okay.
What's the point of having all those animals?
What? What's the point of a courtyard?
I learned the same thing. It's just literally it's the construction of the home. There's no point. It's just I don't have a backyard. I just have a side yard, and I call it a courtyard because I'm from Carmel.
Not food, Rick.
Are you going to eat them?
I'm not going to.
What the donkey tastes like, Dame?
There's a great joke there, and I can't say it.
Let's end there. We got to end there. I wish he would have just said it because don't say it now.
Don't.
Oh, man. This is why you can still listen to the show with your kids.
That's true.
I like to think some listeners listen with their kids because I know Jameson used to and some others do. Yeah. And so, oh my gosh. That's amazing. Cassie said that made her day.
Hey, I got one, everybody.
Oh, can you ask Cassie that accounting question, Dame?
Yeah.
And then hit Kristen and I back up. Oh my gosh. All right, friends. Kristen, good luck. When are you going?
I don't know. Sometime tomorrow.
On a Saturday? Is that when people look at houses?
That's when people look at houses that aren't on the market.
Yeah. It's not on the market.
Correct.
You sent me the address, right?
Correct.
Yeah, they give a competitive bidder.
Can you imagine? Pete bought a hobby farm.
What's a hobby farm?
He's going to bale hay.
Okay, everyone. Stay getting money.